Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I would like to greet you all with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. I pray that everybody is doing fine tonight. I would like to begin by thanking Minister Ishmael Muhammad for giving me the opportunity to share with you all what we've learned as a result of following the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Brothers and sisters, tonight we want to deal with a very important subject at a very critical time, and that is, who is the Messiah? Now, recently the Honorable Louis Farrakhan dealt with people being raised, right?
Yes, sir.
How many of y'all were here for that? Okay. He dealt with people being, not just people being raised, he dealt with black people and our need to be raised by Allah through his Christ. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, we have to ask the question, if the people need to be raised, then where are they? If they need to be raised, then they can't be on the top. But we want to know, if we're the people who need to be raised and we're the ones on the bottom, how did we get there? Is that a good question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, this is why the study of history is so important. When you deal with black people, when you deal with anything, you must study the history of that thing, because that gives you more insight into what you're dealing with. See, you can't say that, well, I'm a Christian and not know the history of Christianity. You follow what I'm saying? Because then you may hear the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad say, well, Christianity as it is taught and practiced is the white man's made-up religion. And you may say, well, that's crazy. But if you study the history of it, of what is taught and practiced, not what Jesus taught, but what we got. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Then that was made up. You understand?
Yes, sir.
The Easter Bunny, that was made up. The Santa Claus, that was made up. Y'all follow what I'm saying?
Yes,
okay. Now, so what happened to black people that put us on the bottom? We're taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan that there are 64 years of missing history. You're familiar with that, right?
Yes,
where do these 64 years of missing history come from? We're taught about a man by the name of John Hawkins, who was the first English slave trader. He wasn't the first slave trader. He was the first English slave trader. The Portuguese got involved in slavery at least 100 years before the English. Are y'all with me?
Yes,
but see, we don't speak Portuguese, do we?
No, sir.
If you go to Brazil, they speak Portuguese. If you go to Mexico, they speak Spanish. If you come to America, we speak English, right?
Yes,
all it shows you is that who we were enslaved by. The black people in Brazil were enslaved by the Portuguese. The blacks in Mexico were enslaved by the Spanish. And we black people in America were enslaved by the English. Are y'all with me?
Yes,
so the first English slave trader was a man by the name of John Hawkins. Y'all got that?
Yes,
do I need to write that down?
No,
I'm going to write it down anyway. Now, I guess I have to keep the mic with me, because they always tell me when I use the board that I have to carry the mic. Okay. Now, the first English slave trader, his name was John Hawkins. And the name of his ship was Jesus of Lubeck. Now you have to ask the question, why did this man name his ship after Jesus? And the reason is because historically black people have always loved Jesus. Even before we were brought to America as slaves, we loved Jesus. Are you following me? And this man knew that we had love and respect for Jesus, so he named his ship after somebody that we all loved, to get us on the ship to deceive us so that we could be brought into slavery. Are y'all with me? Now don't get too upset, because you do the same thing. When you want somebody to do what you want them to do, you use the name of the person that they trust. Let me give you an example. Now I know growing up, if my mother said, look, go wash the dishes, and I didn't feel like washing the dishes, I would tell my brother, look, mama said go wash the dishes. See, now I'm using the name of somebody that he loves, somebody that he respects, to get him to do what I want him to do, but that's not necessarily what my mother wanted. Are you following what I'm saying? That's the exact same thing John Hawkins did. That's the same thing that the enemy uses today to get black people to do what he wants them to do. Some of you have on Nike tennis shoes, right? And he'll get the person that you like to endorse the shoe, so then you won't even think about paying $150 for a shoe that costs him $5 to make. In fact, you would gladly run to the mall with your money in your hand and give it to him, because the white man is smart enough to use the person that you like to get you to do what he wants you to do. Are you following what I'm saying? All praise is due to Allah. So this is what John Hawkins did. He used the name of Jesus to get us to do what he wanted us to do, right? And that ship, that first ship that was controlled by the English, came here in the year 1555, right? Now we learned the lie in history class that we were first brought into slavery in 1619, 1 year before the Pilgrims settled in Jamestown, Virginia. That's a lie. John Hawkins smuggled slaves into the Spanish colonies that were already in America way before the Pilgrims came in 1619. In fact, John Hawkins and the English went to war with the Spanish in 1588, and that's how the English got control of the slave trade. So how can the white man sit and tell you that slavery started in 1619 when they have this history? But if you open up most history books, there is no mention of John Hawkins. But there is a mention of Francis Drake, who is the cousin of John Hawkins. Are y'all following what I'm saying? Okay, so we were brought here in 1555. The enemy says, well, no, we were brought here in 1619, right? If you subtract the two, even though it should really, the 1619 should be on this side. So y'all pardon me. In fact, let me put it right, because I have the math doctor in the house. We don't want any negative numbers. Okay, 1619, if you subtract 1555, that gives you 64 years, right? Because it took 64 years to make us into Negroes. See, we have not always been the way we are now. We have not always been baby mamas. We have not always been fathers who get women pregnant and leave the children and don't even think twice about the child that we made. We have not always been like that. We have not always been liars. We have not always been swine flesh eaters, disrespecters of our women. We were made like that. And it took 64 years to make us that way. That's right. To make us into what you call a Negro or what we call a nigger. Are y'all with me? A Negro and a nigger is the same thing. That's right. A Negro, a nigger, a nigger, all of those are the same thing. Come on now. Y'all with me? Okay. So it took 64 years to make black people who had a relationship with God, who believed in the one God, and lived by the laws of that one God. You couldn't go to Africa and Asia and find a man having sex with another man. You could not find that. You could not find a woman having sex with another woman, not where we live. It was white people that introduced us to homosexuality. If you read the accounts on the slave ships, the slave traders, they would sleep with our women, right? And if there weren't any women on the boat, they would sleep with the men. They just wanted a warm body. Because the trip from Africa to America was about 3 months going and 3 months coming. Are you following what I'm saying? They raped little black children and had sex with them. They're the ones who brought us that type of lifestyle. We were not practicing that before we were brought into slavery. Are y'all following me? Okay. So let's deal with this word Negro. Because it's the Negroes that need to be raised. Are y'all with me? The word Negro is the word that the enemy used to describe us. Now you get a Webster's dictionary, right? Because see, you always have to bring a white man to bear witness to what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is. It's unfortunate, but you always do. Because when a black man asks you, do you have any proof? He's not asking you for proof, or a black woman. They're asking you, are there any white people who agree with what you say? That's what they're really asking you. If you can find a white man that says what you're saying, maybe I'll believe it. Because they never asked a white man to prove anything. They accepted everything on face value. This is why we believe all kind of foolishness, right? So now, this word Negro, according to Webster, who was a white man, came in existence in the year 1555. Are y'all listening to me? The word Negro came into the English language in the year 1555, which is the same year that we were brought into slavery. But see, the white man lies to you and tells you that Negro is the Spanish word for black. Negro means black, right? And the white man is a liar. But you should already know that. Now, hold on, let me see. In Spanish, the word negro does mean black. But see, that's only half of the truth. And a half-truth is a lie. Are y'all with me? See, the word negro in Spanish only is used to refer to things that are dead. Inanimate objects. Negros zapatos. Black shoes, right? The word for a black person in Spanish is moreno. We don't use negro to refer to a person. We use negro to refer to something that is black but is not alive. Are you following what I'm saying? See, so this word negro has the connotation of dead. Negro means dead. Are y'all with me? That's in the Spanish. You can call it negro in the Spanish. If you go to the Greek, it's necro, N-E-C-R-O.
That's right.
Y'all got me?
Yes, sir.
And it means dead. That's the Greek. Can I abbreviate? It means dead. Look it up in the dictionary. A necropolis is the city of the dead. Necromancy is the study of the dead. If you go to the Latin, it's N-E-K-R-O, which also means dead. That's Latin. Are y'all with me? So now, then you look at what is called Graham's Law of Consonants. Y'all heard me? Graham's Law of Consonants says that in English, the G, the C, and the K are all interchangeable. And it doesn't change the meaning of the word. Are y'all with me? So if N-E-K-R-O means dead, and N-E-C-R-O means dead, then we have to draw the logical conclusion based on language that N-E-G-R-O means dead, which is where you get the word that we love to use, nigga. That's just our favorite word in the black community, right? If I had $1 for every time black people said nigga, I would be richer than Bill Gates. Are you with me? But we use the word and don't know what the word means. Now, you have to ask the question, are black people dead? And you'll say, no, black people ain't dead. We all in here. We all alive. See, that's because we only understand one meaning of the word dead. But there are other meanings of the word dead. If you go to a concert, right? If you go, y'all saw the movie Fade to Black, right? Okay, you didn't see it. I saw the movie Fade to Black, right? The Jay-Z movie, right? Now, and if Jay-Z is on stage and he's saying whatever he's saying, you know, get that dirt off my shoulder. Y'all heard that? Or you at a 50 Cent concert, or whoever you like. And you're at the concert, and the crowd is just like, you say the crowd is what? You say the crowd is dead, right? If you don't pay your phone bill and you pick up the phone, and there is no dial tone, you say the phone is what? The phone is dead. Well, what is it that makes it dead? All it means is that if Jay-Z is on the stage and he's doing his thing and the crowd is not responding the way the crowd should respond, that means they're not functioning properly, right? If you didn't pay the phone bill, your phone is not working properly, so you describe it as dead. So when you have a people who don't function the way that people should function, you describe them as dead. Do you understand what I'm saying? But God sent someone to do what? To raise the dead. Are y'all following what I'm saying? See, when you read the Bible and Jesus is going around raising the dead, he's not raising people who died physically. If he is, then why did he tell his disciple Peter when his mother died, let the dead bury their dead? Why did he say that? Dead people can't bury one another. Right? You've never seen that. You've been to funerals before. You went to Ray Ray's funeral. Pookie didn't bury Ray Ray. And Pookie got shot the week before, right? If you saw Pookie at the funeral, you'd run out of there, right? Because dead people don't do that. But when you read about dead people being raised in the Bible, it's talking about the mentally dead, the spiritually dead, which describes black people to a T. Are we mentally dead? Do we lack the knowledge of who we are, right? In fact, we pride ourselves in being ignorant, right? We ask a black person about their history, all they know is Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X. That's it, right? Are we socially dead? How does the society look at black people? Are we respected in this society? Or are we looked down on in society? You have never turned on your television and seen the police just beating up an Asian man. I'm talking about just stomping him in the ground, billy clubs just whooping him, right? You've never seen that. You've never seen where they just whooping on a white man in the middle of the street, choking him, sticking a billy club in his rectum. You never even heard that. One white senator said he couldn't even imagine being pulled over because he was white. He said he couldn't even imagine it. But every black person, even if you've never been pulled over because you're black, you can at least imagine that happening, right? Even though you've never been beat up by the police, you can imagine that could happen to you, right? That's why we're afraid to pass the police when they're in front of us. Because we don't want to get pulled over because we know we may get whooped. Are you understand what I'm saying? But no other races suffer that because they're not socially dead. Now, you've been hearing on the radio and on the television about Reverend Meeks, right? And how the police pulled him over. He gets out of the car, and the officer pulls his gun out, puts it in his face, and tells him, with a few explicatives, to get back in the car, right? Now, and everybody is so shocked, or they're acting shocked, because this happened to a reverend. Come on now. But this has been happening in the black community. This is not new to the black community. See, what most of these preachers think is that the white man loves them because they got a big church and they got a lot of followers, and they think that all of a sudden white people have changed and they're brought back to reality. All praise is due to Allah. Now, you may have heard where Oprah Winfrey tried to go into some store in France, and they closed the door on Oprah, and now all of a sudden, this is her crash moment. Well, black people have been suffering this since we've been in this country. And the reason we're treated like this is because the society looks down on black people. You never heard about a white person going to a Korean store and the Koreans following them around? Because the society looks down on us but not on them. Now, we're morally dead. Because every filthy thing that the white man comes up with, we try to outdo them in filth. Are you following what I'm saying? Yes, sir. They were homosexuals. Now we're trying to be the biggest homosexuals, right? We're spiritually dead. How are we spiritually dead? You go to black folks' houses and you see a white Jesus on the wall. Every other ethnic group has a God that looks like them, right? Yes, sir. But we're the only group that has a God that looks like somebody else. And then if you bring up, well, he wasn't black. I mean, the man lived in Africa, around Africans. Then they'll tell you crazy as hell. Then all of a sudden, it doesn't matter. All of a sudden. But if it didn't matter, why did the white man make him white? You understand what I'm saying? All praise is due to Allah. See now, some of us like to be apologists for white people. Right? And make excuses. See, after the white man has taken over the world and owns everything, and we're locked out, we're on the bottom. Now he comes and says, can't we just get along? I mean, now that I'm working for you, my children work for you. We've been your slaves, you own everything, you own us, right? We run the world, and when we stand up for justice, now we just want to get along. See, but that's not justice. You understand what I'm saying? So now, the last spiritually dead. You have black people that will buy a platinum chain with Jesus on the end, right? And they will kiss the Jesus piece right before they kill another black person. They'll be like, Jesus, help me kill this nigga. And then just go blow a black person away, right? That should show you that we're spiritually dead. We get on television naked at the awards show, a sticker over our nipple, right? And we'll say, the first thing out of our mouth, I want to thank God for letting me win this Grammy. You're naked on TV, and you want to thank God because you won a Grammy. And you listen to the music. You got rappers, I want to thank God for this weed. God doesn't have anything to do with that. You open a bottle of cognac talking about, man, God bless me this week. That's crazy as hell. Now, the last category is economically dead. Are y'all with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you look in the black community, every ethnic group and race has businesses in their community that they own. You go to Chinatown, right? The Chinese own the businesses in Chinatown. You can't open up a Chinese food restaurant in Chinatown and the Chinese people buy from you, right? The Chinese mafia run you out of Chinatown. You go to Greektown, right? You can't open up a corner store in Greektown. You go to Greektown, the signs are in Greek, you can't even read it. But you in Greektown all day and night buying the Greeks' food, right? You in Chinatown buying the Chinese people's food, right? You go to Little Italy and the Italians run it, right? You go to where the Polish people live, they run it, they own the businesses. You go on commercial where the Hispanic people live, they run it, they own the businesses, signs are in Spanish, right? You go to Schaumburg where the Jews live, they run it, they own the businesses, right? Some signs in Hebrew, some signs in Yiddish. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes,
every ethnic group owns the businesses where they live except who? Except black people. Because we're economically dead. All you have to do is look around. The corner store is owned by the Arabs. You can't go open up a store in the Arab neighborhood and sell pig in their neighborhood. But they can come in your neighborhood and sell pork skins, pig feet, chitlins, everything else. And there is no protest in the black community. Then one of the Arabs may kill a black person because they were trying to steal some candy, or they thought they were trying to steal some candy. And then we're back in the store the next day. Shoot, I gotta get some groceries. I don't care nothing about Latasha Nikwa. I gotta get some groceries for my baby. Right? Most of the businesses in our community are owned by somebody else, which should show you that we're what? We're economically dead. We got money for alcohol, right? We got money for drugs. We got money for bootleg DVDs. But we don't have any money to give to our children's education. Economically dead. So now, it's clear that black people are on the bottom.
That's right.
Right?
That's right,
The Bible says that the bottom rail will be raised to the top. Is that what it says? Jesus says in the Bible that the bottom rail will be raised to the top and the tail will be made the head. But see, some of y'all still don't believe black people are on the bottom. I know. Because you see the rappers on TV and they got all this money. You watch Cribs and you think, well, I mean, look, we must be at least somewhere in the middle, right? Okay. Let me bring a white man that bears witness to what we teach. Are y'all ready? Now, there's a book called The Jewish Phenomenon, written by a man, his last name is Silverman, I believe. I believe that's his last name. But the name of the book is The Jewish Phenomenon. In the beginning of the book, he has a chart that breaks down every ethnic group in the United States by their income, right? Now, the average income, according to this chart, is 100, meaning if you're at 100, then you have the average of everybody else in the country. Are y'all following what I'm saying? Anything above 100 is above average. Anything below 100 is below average. Is everybody with me? Okay, let's go down the list. At the top of the chart, you have the Jewish people at 172. That means they're 72 points above average. Y'all got that? Average is 100. Underneath them, you have the Japanese at 132. The Japanese at 132. Beneath the Japanese, you have the Polish at 115. Beneath the Polish, you have the Chinese at 112. Tied with the Chinese are the Italians at 107. No, pardon me, at 112. Tied with the Chinese are the Italians at 112. Then, underneath the Italians are the Germans at 107. Tied with the Germans are the Anglo-Saxons at 107. And right under the Anglo-Saxons are the Irish at 103. Y'all got that? All of them are above average, right? Then you have the U.S. average, which is 100. Right below the average is the Filipino at 99. Hadn't got to us yet. Right beneath the Filipino is the West Indian at 94. They're black, but they don't hang with us. Right? Underneath the West Indian is the Mexican at 76. I know you thought that you were above the Mexicans. You see them out there in Chicago watering the lawn for Mayor Daley. You may have them cut your grass. You may talk about them because there's 20 of them in a car, 50 of them in an apartment. But they're pooling their resources, right? So that they won't be poor. But you got to have your own car, your own place to live, your own this, because you're so individualistic and poor. You understand what I'm saying? They're working together and they're above black people in this country economically. Then under the Mexican is the Puerto Rican at 63. And then at the bottom of the list, at the very bottom of the list, is the black man and woman at 62. That means that we're 38 points below average at the bottom of the list. But I know we're on cribs, right? A couple of Negroes made $1 million, you see them on TV, and we're equal. Okay, that's not enough proof. Let's bring one more person to the witness stand. This time it's going to be the United Way, pardon me, and the Urban League. Now, it says, the name of this article is, Los Angeles blacks still fare poorly, study shows. And it says, blacks in America's second largest city fare the worst among all major races in education, health, economics, housing, and criminal justice, according to a study released on Wednesday. Now, and it goes on to give the statistics, but I have to read this point right here. But we're at the bottom. And I use Los Angeles, but it's the same everywhere. You can't go to a city and black people on the top in the city. Where? Tell me a city where black people are on top. Every city you go to, the black man and woman are on the bottom. But it says the only area in which blacks scored higher than all other races was civic engagement, which includes voter participation, military service, and English fluency. See, we're voting, but we don't have anything for our vote, because politics is only half of it. If you don't have economics with politics, then your politics is worthless. You have to have economics with politics. You understand what I'm saying? The Honorable Louis Farrakhan said that politics without economics is symbol without substance. So we're all voting, but we have nothing to show for it. Are y'all with me? We're at the bottom in this country. If we're at the bottom, the question is, who is going to raise the black man and woman to the top? What method will this person use to raise the black man and woman to the top? Since it's clear we're on the bottom. Now, you may be saying, well, Jesus is going to be the one that's going to raise us to the top. Because see, when he comes out of the sky, then he's just going to take us with him back in the sky. Right? Now, but my question to you is, if the man of 2,000 years ago, the man that was here 2,000 years ago, was the one to do that, if he was the Messiah, then where's the kingdom? Because the man in the Bible said that he was coming to bring a kingdom, right? And he said, I'm going to read what he said in Matthew 24, verse 33 through 35. He says, verily I say unto you, that this generation shall not pass until all things are fulfilled. And if you read prior to that, he lists a lot of things that are going to happen, right? And then he says that the generation, meaning the people who he's speaking to, that all of these things will happen before you die. But those people died a long time ago, right? And what Jesus prophesied of the kingdom is not here. At least we're not in that kingdom, right? Maybe blacks aren't allowed, I don't know. Or maybe the man of 2,000 years ago was just a sign of the one that would bring in the kingdom. Are y'all with me? Yes, now let's see. There is a prophecy in the Bible about the Messiah. And it says, let me read it, okay. And you see I got a lot of books up here. It's in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verse 18. Y'all got that? Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verse 18. Let me find it. Now you may be saying, I thought Muslims didn't believe in the Bible. You may be saying that. Every Muslim believes in the Bible. Now, we do understand that the white man has tampered with the Bible. And he's also tampered with the interpretation of the Bible. Are y'all following what I'm saying? And one quick example is, he said that black people were the cursed seed of Ham. That we were cursed black, and he used the Bible to justify that. That we were cursed to be slaves because that's what the Bible said the descendants of Ham would be. And the Bible does say that, but it's a misinterpretation on the part of the enemy to justify slavery. Y'all following what I'm saying? So not only did he tamper with the book, but he tampered with the interpretation of the book. So the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says that, and the Honorable Louis Farrakhan teach, that it needs to be reinterpreted so that mankind would not be snared by the falsehoods that have been added to it. Are y'all with me? Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18. Here it is. Now, in the book of Deuteronomy, it says, 18 verse 18, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, meaning Moses. And I will put my words in his mouth, and he will speak unto them all that I shall command him. Y'all got that? The prophecy in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verse 18, says that God would raise a prophet like Moses. And that is a prophecy, it's one of the major prophecies of the man who will be the Messiah. So now, we have to understand that Moses is the most mentioned prophet in this book, the Holy Quran. He's mentioned in here more than Muhammad. He's mentioned in here more than Jesus. He's mentioned in here more than Abraham. And the reason that Moses is mentioned in this book more than any other prophet is because the last one from God, the Messiah, would be a prophet like Moses. So God wants you to focus on Moses, even though the last one, the Messiah, would have similarities with all of the prophets. You follow what I'm saying? But the greatest similarity would be between him and Moses. Are y'all following me? So now, we have to know, well, if the man is going to be like Moses, then what question do we need to ask? What was Moses like, right? Okay. Now, the word like means possessing the same or almost the same characteristics. Similar, close, comparable, compatible, corresponding, equivalent, identical. Y'all got me? Matching, parallel, related, resembling, uniform, and the same. So we're looking for a man that resembles Moses, right? That is like Moses, identical to Moses, close to Moses, corresponds with Moses, parallel with Moses. Y'all follow me? Okay. Now, in the book, Message to the Black Man, which if you have not read this book, don't go and get the book, The Jewish Phenomenon, just because I mentioned it, and it's by a white man. Don't go and get that book and not read Message to the Black Man. Don't go and get Webster's Dictionary and be like, man, the word Negro was made in 1555, and you never read Message to the Black Man. You understand what I'm saying? Don't go and get, what's the name of this book I'm thinking about? Behold the Pale Horse, and you never read Message to the Black Man. See, we like to read those books by those white authors that may say some of what we're saying, right? But see, those people, if they were given the power to bring in a kingdom, where would you be in that kingdom? Of the writers of all these conspiracy books. Would they have you on the top? Or would those white writers still have you on the bottom? They're not on the front lines defending black people. They may expose the wickedness of the government. They may talk about what they've done to us a little bit. But if they were in power, we would be in the same position. So you don't need to run and get their books. You need to run and get the book written by the man that's going to make the bottom rail to the top. Are y'all following what I'm saying? All praise is due to Allah. all they can do is compliment what the man said. Because they wouldn't even be writing it if he hadn't said it first. Okay, let's go to 250 in Message to the Black Man. In Message to the Black Man, page 250, in reference to this verse, Deuteronomy 18:18, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says, this is the answer or a prophecy that comes with the prayer of Abraham, that God raised up a messenger from among them and taught him the wisdom and the book. Because his people would not have knowledge of the book and were only guessing at its meaning. This book is referring to the Bible that they were guessing at its meaning. Now, so the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is saying that Deuteronomy 18:18 has a relationship with the prayer of Abraham in the Holy Quran. So now let's read the prayer of Abraham in the Holy Quran. Y'all with me? It's in the 2nd chapter, the 129th verse. Now, if you were here on Sunday, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan quoted the 128th verse of this chapter. I'm going to quote the 129th verse, which talks about a messenger being raised up and being taught the book and the wisdom. This is the prayer of Abraham. Our Lord, make both of us submissive to thee, talking about him and Ishmael, and raise from our offspring a nation submissive to thee, and show us our ways of devotion, and turn to us mercifully. Surely thou art the oft returning to mercy. This is 129. Our Lord, and raise up in them, talking about the people that were being raised, raise up in them a messenger from among them who shall recite to them thy message, and teach them the book and the wisdom, and purify them. Yes, surely thou art the mighty and the wise. Now the Arabs say that that's Muhammad. That's what they say. But read what the book says. It says that the prayer says that raise up a man that will recite to them the message of Allah, right? Muhammad 1400 years ago did that. But then it says that this man would teach the book, which is the Bible. Prophet Muhammad never taught the Bible to the Arabs 1400 years ago. But this man would teach the book and the wisdom, which means the meaning of the Holy Quran, which Prophet Muhammad never taught the meaning of this book, but he did recite the message of Allah, and he recited the book. Are you following me? So this can't be talking about Prophet Muhammad. Now, y'all ready? Let's deal with this man who is like Moses. Oh, I got to deal with this first. I'm sorry. Can I erase this? Yes. Okay. Now, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that you don't have a man like Moses unless you have a people in the condition of the people of Moses. Y'all got that? And he said that you won't have a man like Moses unless you have a Pharaoh or someone like Pharaoh and a country like Egypt. Are y'all following me? So the next question we want to answer before we go to who is the man like Moses is modern America comparable to ancient Egypt? Are y'all ready? Now, is modern America comparable to ancient Egypt? The first thing I want you to do, I'm not going to take your money, but the first thing I want you to do is pull out $1. That's the first thing I want you to do. Because we want to know, is modern America like ancient Egypt? And we're going to start with $1. I have $1 here. It's one of those, I printed it out. I'm not trying to counterfeit anything. So please don't turn me into the Treasury Department. I mean, if you're in the FBI, you got to report that anyway. So I'm not talking to you. Now, if you look on the back of the dollar, right? There are some symbols on the back of the dollar, right? The first symbol we want to look at is the pyramid, right? Now, the first thing is the pyramid. The symbol of the pyramid comes from where? There's only a couple of places in the world where you find pyramids. The Sudan, right? You don't know nothing about those pyramids. Mexico, right? You don't know anything about those pyramids, right? and Egypt, right? The world knows about those pyramids, right? So now, the pyramid on the back of the dollar comes from ancient Egypt, right? That's a symbol of ancient Egypt. Now, we're not going to get into the meaning of the pyramid, well, we are in a minute, but we're not going to get into any other deeper meanings of the pyramid. Now, on the other side of the dollar, you see the eagle, right? Now, where does the eagle come from? It comes from a man in Egypt, the son of Osiris, named Horus, whose symbol was not an eagle, but it was a hawk. And the exact way that the eagle is on the dollar, the founding fathers, and I have a picture, because you got to prove everything to black people. You just can't tell them. You have to prove it, because we don't believe fat meat is greasy. Now, this is the hawk of Horus. Do y'all see that? Notice it is the exact same form that you have the eagle on the dollar bill. Are y'all following me? That's because the founding fathers got the eagle and the pyramid both from ancient Egypt. Y'all with me? Now, then you have above the pyramid, you have the eye, right? Above the pyramid. The founding fathers called it the eye of providence, right? But they got that from ancient Egypt, right? It was the eye of Horus. Y'all with me? Now I have a picture of that eye here. You've seen it before. Most of you have seen it before. Y'all have seen that before, right? Okay. But they got that from ancient Egypt as well, right? Now, but that's not all. Where's my list? Okay. Now, that's just on the dollar. Now, you have, in Washington, D.C., the Washington Monument, right? The Washington Monument is an obelisk, and it has a reflecting pool in front of it. If you go to Egypt, to a city called Karnak, there's a temple there, and in the city of Karnak, at the temple of Karnak, you have an obelisk. In front of that obelisk, you have a reflecting pool, just like you have in Washington, D.C. Because the founding fathers, I'm not going to say they stole it, but they got the idea from ancient Egypt because they patterned America off of ancient Egypt. Are y'all with me? Now, you have in this country a president that lives where? He lives in the White House. And we all think that it's called the White House because it's white, or because only white men have lived there. And all black people do is cook the food in the White House. But the ancient Egyptian pharaoh lived in a palace called the Double White House. And it's called the Double White House because he was the ruler over Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt. So it was called the Double White House. So the founding fathers named the place where they reside the White House, not because it was white, but they named it after the White House in ancient Egypt, the Double White House. Now you have a city in America called Memphis, right? And in that city you have a pyramid, right? You've seen it, right? They have sporting events there. Now, there's a city in Egypt called what? Memphis, the city of the dead, right? Now you go to downtown Chicago and you get on Upper Wacker Drive. Y'all with me? If you drive down Upper Wacker Drive, you have obelisks that look like this. Now you may not have been paying attention because you didn't know that you were in modern Egypt, right? You have when you go downtown, all down Upper Wacker Drive, you have these obelisks. You may say, brother, I'm on the bus. I can't get downtown. Well, then go over here on Jeffrey, right before it turns into Lakeshore Drive, where they just remodeled that bridge. Now you notice they tore the whole bridge down. But there are 4 obelisks on the corner of that bridge. They didn't tear it down. Now, so you have to understand that America patterned itself off of Egypt. You've been to the Lincoln Memorial. You may not have gone there, but you know the Lincoln Memorial, right? Now, the original Lincoln Memorial was supposed to be a pyramid, but they changed that. It's just a Roman-style building. But Lincoln is sitting in the chair, just like Ramses is sitting in the chair in the Ramesseum in ancient Egypt, or in Egypt today, right? They patterned that off of ancient Egypt. Now, in Egypt, you had a pyramid class system. You had the rich on the top, slaves on the bottom, right? In America, what do you have? The rich on the top, slaves at the bottom, right? Okay. Now, last point. In Egypt, when they were dealing with Moses, the Pharaoh called the enchanters. And the enchanters, he said, look, I need y'all to get rid of Moses and tell me, name your price. Now, you would have thought that they would have, look, man, you got to give me, look, at least a good billion, some gold, some land. They say, we don't want anything but to be close to you. We don't want any money. We don't want any notoriety. We don't want any fame and fortune. We just want nearness to you. Now, I want you to think about black leaders. When they go to the White House, what do they ask for? Do they ask for reparations? Are they in the White House saying, look, damn it, we need some reparations. And we need them now. No, they're not that bold. Now, what's the brother's name? Brother Benjamin Chavis, now Benjamin Muhammad. He said that when they were on Air Force One, all of the Negro leaders were on Air Force One with Bill Clinton, right? He said the conversation was not, and he was on there with them. He said the conversation was not about justice for black people. The conversation was not about apartheid in South Africa. He said the conversation was about who was going to be the first person to take a picture with the president when they got off the plane. That's a Negro who only wants to be close to the Pharaoh. Are you following what I'm saying? So now let's deal quickly with this man that is like Moses and get out of here. Y'all ready? So we got that. America is like Egypt, right? So if America is like Egypt, if we're the slaves, right? And God said that there would be a man like Moses, then that means we need to be looking for a man to do what Moses did, right? Y'all pardon me 1 second. I try to come prepared. Here we go. Now, so the controversy is this. The Christians say Jesus is the man like Moses. The Muslims say, the Arab Muslims say, Muhammad is the man like Moses. But I'm going to go out on a ledge and say, neither one of them are like Moses, but the one that is like Moses is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Are y'all with me? That's what I'm going to say. So, let's put Moses, Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Y'all got that? Okay, let's move quickly. Now, we're going to give you categories. We're going to compare each one, and then we're out of here. Right? Now, let's deal with the birth. Moses was born a slave, right? In bondage to Pharaoh, or from a people who were in bondage to Pharaoh, right? And was Jesus born a slave? Or was Jesus born free and parents were free? He was born free, right? Was Prophet Muhammad a slave? Were his people enslaved? Were the people of Jesus enslaved? No, they weren't, right? So they were free. What about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Was he born from among the slaves? Were his people enslaved? Okay. Y'all got that? First category. Now, the people of Moses were slaves, right? The people of Jesus, that Jesus came to preach to, they were not slaves physically. They may have been slaves to a certain idea, but the people of Moses were not only physical slaves, they were also mental slaves, right? Jesus' people were not like that. Were the Quraysh at the time of Muhammad, were they enslaved? They were not enslaved. They were the rulers in Arabia. But the people of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, slaves, right? Y'all got that? What about the language of Moses? Moses grew up in the house of who? He grew up in Pharaoh's house. So whose language did he speak? He spoke Pharaoh's language, is that right? He spoke, I'm going to put not his own. Y'all got that? Now, Jesus, did he speak Greek? No. Did he speak Latin? What the Romans spoke? No. He spoke Hebrew and Aramaic, is that right? So this man had his own language, the language of the original people. Now, Prophet Muhammad spoke Arabic. He was one of the best Arabic speakers in all of Arabia, right? But let's go to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. What language did he speak? English, right? Which is the language of who? The slave master. So we'll put not his own. Y'all with me? Okay. Now, what about the education, the culture, the dress, the way of life? I'm just going to put education, but I'm including all those things. Where was Moses educated? Was he educated by his own people with the knowledge of who his own people were? Or was he educated by Pharaoh with the knowledge of who they were and looked down on his own people? It was Pharaoh's, right? Jesus. We know Jesus learned in Egypt, right? That's where he, when you read the Bible and you don't see him in the Bible till he's 33, you saw him born, then you see him again, he's 33. Where was he all that time? He was in Egypt studying, right? That's why it says, out of Egypt I've called my son, right? Now, so Jesus he had his own education from his own people, right? Muhammad, he didn't have an education, so they say, right? So we'll put none. They say he was illiterate, right? But the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was educated by the slave master, right? Yes, sir. Y'all with me? Yes, sir. Went to the slave master school. Now, if you look at Moses, Moses had a speech impediment. Right? Okay, we'll put yes here. He had a speech impediment. Jesus have a speech impediment? No, you never read that. Muhammad have a speech impediment? Never read that. Elijah Muhammad have a speech impediment? All you have to do is listen to a tape. The man went to the 3rd grade of school, right? And he did have a speech impediment. But see, you have to understand that doesn't take anything away from him being the messenger of God. Because he did more for black people than any person ever born in America with his 3rd grade education, which proves he was taught by God. Now, if you were, just to give you the Bible verse, where it says that, it's Exodus chapter 4, verse 10. This is why he asked for a helper in Aaron, because he was an eloquent speaker. Are y'all with me? Now, Moses was a black man. Y'all with me? So we'll put yes here. He was a black man. How do you know? All you have to do is open up your Bible to Exodus chapter 4, verse 6. And there are 2 signs that God gave Moses before he went to Pharaoh. One, he threw the rod down and it turned into a snake, right? That's the one they put in the 10 Commandments. The other one they didn't put in the 10 Commandments. The other one, if you read the Bible, says he put his hand into his bosom and it came out white as snow. What does that tell you? It couldn't have been white going in. Because if it went in white and came out white, that's not a miracle. Let me give you an example. I'm going to put my hand in my suit and it's going to come out black. You're not even amazed, not even a little, because it went in black and it came out black. But if I pulled my hand out and it was white, then you would be like, okay, this brother, something's going on. Maybe he has some powder in his suit, or I don't know. But this man puts his hand in his bosom, pulls it out, and it's white. The same thing is in the Holy Quran, chapter 28, verse 32. Now, in this way, Jesus is like Moses, because Jesus was, in fact, a black man. We're not going into detail. Read Revelations chapter, 1 verse 14? 1 verse 14. had hair like lamb's wool, feet like brass, as if it had been burned in an oven. Go burn some brass and then tell me what color it becomes. Okay, now, Prophet Muhammad, he was a white man. Y'all got that? Elijah Muhammad, he was a black man. Let's move quickly. Now, Moses talked with God face to face. Is that what the book of Exodus says? In the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 11, it says Moses spoke to God face to face as a man speaketh to his friend. Go read it when you get home. Did Jesus talk to God face to face? Did Muhammad talk to God face to face? Muhammad talked to the angel Jibril, right? Did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talk to God face to face as a man speaking to his friend? Is that right? So now, anytime you read one of his books, he said, this is what I was taught by God. Now, if you think God is in the atmosphere somewhere, you may have a problem with that. Right? Now, what about the mission of Moses? Moses' mission was 40 years. Jesus' mission depends on where you look. If you go from the Bible, it was 3 years. But if you go with the true history of Jesus, it was 19 years, right? Muhammad's mission was 23 years. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad's mission was what? Among us, 40 years. Now, what about Pharaoh? Moses had a Pharaoh, right? Which was a tyrant. So we'll put a yes here. Jesus, there was a tyrant in the Caesar, but Jesus wasn't doing battle with the tyrant. Right or wrong? He was doing battle with his own people, according to the Bible. The Jews who didn't want to listen, but Moses was doing battle with Pharaoh himself. Y'all got that? So we'll put a note here. Muhammad did not have a tyrant. The people he was against were his own people. His own brothers and sisters of his tribe, right? Not a tyrant. What about the most honorable Elijah Muhammad? He was dealing with a what? A tyrant. Bush is a tyrant. Clinton, tyrant. President, tyrant. Y'all following me? Now, if you look at Moses, his people had no prophet prior to him, right? That they could remember. They had a great history, but they couldn't remember it because they were robbed of the knowledge of self, right? So we'll put none here. In the time of Jesus, they had a prophet, right? They were claiming Moses, even though they weren't following him. They claimed him. What about Prophet Muhammad? Who built the Kaaba? Abraham built the Kaaba? The Arabs knew Abraham built the Kaaba. With Ishmael, that's 2 prophets, right? So they had prophets. What about black people? Who came for us? No one. I'll put none. Y'all got that? So now, if you look, and I got to wrap it up. If you look and compare with Moses, the Pharaoh killed the children before Moses was born, trying to get Moses, right? Did they do that in the time of Jesus? They did do that. It was just in one city, though. Not all over the whole country, right? Just one city that he was prophesied to be born in. Y'all got that? In the time of Muhammad, did they kill anybody? Didn't kill anybody. What about us? Is there a plan to destroy the black man? Have you heard of the Tuskegee experiment? Was that an experiment where they injected over 600 black men with the most vile form of syphilis? Have you heard of crack cocaine? Is that something that was made by the government to destroy the black community? Have you heard of ecstasy? Yeah, some of y'all may have some in the car. I know. Now, ecstasy was created by the CIA as well. LSD also was used to, and they created LSD, and they experimented on black people who were in jail to see the effects of LSD. And the last example is public school. Yes. Public school is designed to destroy the black man. Are y'all with me? So now, let's go to what Moses taught. Did Moses teach integration with Pharaoh? Or did Moses teach separation and a land of their own? He taught separation, right? And the death of Pharaoh, right? What did Jesus teach? Did Jesus teach separation from all? No! He didn't teach separation from home. He did teach the separation of the righteous and the wicked. But he didn't teach the Jews to separate in a land of their own, right? Did Muhammad teach the people who believed to separate in a land of their own? There was a separation, but he didn't teach them to separate. In fact, in the end, they came together. In the end here, they were in a land of their own. What does the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teach? Separation in a land of our own and the judgment of Pharaoh. Are y'all with me? Now the last category is Moses brought a new God and a new religion. Right? Because prior to that, they worshiped Pharaoh as God. Right? They bowed down to Pharaoh. Jesus, did he have a new God and a new religion, or did he just have a deeper understanding of God and religion? Deeper understanding. Muhammad, did he have a new God? He didn't have a new God, because the Arabs already knew about Allah, but they just associated partners with Allah. Do you understand? But they knew who Allah was. They knew he was the supreme over all the other gods. But Allah does not have partners. You follow what I'm saying? What about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? He brought a new God and a new religion. And when I say new, I'm saying new to us. Because Islam is the old-time religion. It has been here since the beginning of time. Now, so brothers and sisters, let's wrap it up. Now, the point of me giving you this is because if God is going to raise a man like Moses, and Moses wasn't alone in his work, right? If God is going to raise a man like Moses, that means he's also going to raise a man like Aaron. So you have to ask the question, who is this Aaron and who is the man like Aaron? And all you have to do is look at what Aaron did. Aaron was a peacemaker, right? Aaron was the leader over the children of Israel. In fact, when there was an argument over who would be the leader, then God settled the argument by allowing Aaron's rod to bud, and all the false pretenders, their rod didn't bud. Meaning it didn't grow anything. Meaning they didn't produce anything. The rod represents rulership and power. And some people say, well, see, Farrakhan, he ain't the leader of all black people. Is that what they say? You know, every time you read an article, they'll say, well, you know, Farrakhan, who is not the leader of all black people. Right? Now, I mean, and see, we accept that foolishness, but we never ask the question, well, Bush is the president. And we never won the majority of the vote in either election. Right? But is he still the leader? In the first election, Gore had the majority, Bush won, right? And Bush was the president. And everybody recognized him as the president, even though every American didn't vote for Bush. Are y'all with me? Every American didn't vote for Clinton. Right? But that didn't stop Clinton from being the leader. So every black person may not accept the Honorable Louis Farrakhan as their leader, but he is the undisputed leader of all of black people. Are y'all with me? Now, all praise is due to Allah. Now, my last point. The Bible charges Aaron with evil. The Holy Quran says Aaron did not participate in any evil. Right? In the Bible, it says that Aaron is the one that made the golden calf after Moses went to the mountain to receive the law. That Aaron participated in this. But how could a prophet of God, who the Bible and Holy Quran both say are prophets, how could a prophet or a person deceive God and then cause the people to deviate? Is God not a foreknower? And a knower of the hearts of men and women, and know what's going to happen before it happens? You understand what I'm saying? So now, but the children of Israel did take the golden calf to worship. But what does that mean? And I'm going to tell you what I think it means, and then we're going to leave. Now, the golden calf could mean that the people took their low desires as a God beside God. You understand what I'm saying? Because a calf or an animal is a beast, right? And if you look at us as black people, we have taken our low desires and made them a God beside Allah, right? We all claim God, But we don't live the life that God wants us to live. Let me just run the list real quick, and then we out of here. Today, black people care more about sex than they do about freedom and liberation. You ask the young people, you think black people need to strive to be free? No, man, I'm trying to get my freak on, I'm in the club, I'm trying to get a chick, so I can hit it from the back, that's what I'm on. I ain't on no freedom, I ain't on no civil rights, Martin Luther King, you know what I'm saying? Right? That's all they're concerned about. When a short while ago, it was the youth that were leading the struggle of black people. But the white man has used television to make us sex maniacs. So all we care about is sex. We poor as hell, we raggedy, we have nothing, we at the bottom in this country. And all we care about is having sex, right? Because we've taken our low desires and put sex above freedom. Put sex above liberation. Sex above the education of our children. Are you following what I'm saying? Now, what the white man is trying to do is make us unworthy to enter into the kingdom of God. So now he's pushing homosexuality, right? See, the minister said that he uses the airwaves. Because let me give you this example that he used. See, you weren't thinking about something and you see it, it makes you want it. Most of you may not be thinking about a bean pie. Some of y'all are saying, I wish that nigga hurry up so I can get me a bean pie. But most of you aren't thinking about a bean pie. But if they were to bring some fresh baked bean pies over here and the smell travel through the air and hit your nose, then that would cause your mind to think about what? To think about a bean pie. So the white man uses the air waves in that fashion. He puts out his idea of what he wants you to think in the air. And then you just sitting at home, you stressed out, right? You turn on the television, you see two women kissing. So that's him putting the idea in the air. Now some of you may reject the idea, right? And some of you may be like, hey, that looks so fun. I wonder what that's like. To be two women, right? And then you got a stupid boyfriend, and he said, I want to be with two women at the same time. And I was just thinking about that. And you don't know you're being set up by the white man, so you're unworthy to enter the kingdom of God. So now you got these preachers in the church on the down low, right? You got the deacon, he's on the down low. You got this Catholic priest in New Orleans who had the nerve to criticize the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. How the hell can a Catholic priest criticize the man of God when you have hundreds of thousands of priests molesting little boys? How can you fix your lips to criticize a holy man? And you just got finished molesting the choir boy. You just got finished having a menage a trois with two of the ushers in the back of the church. And you got the nerve to come on TV and talk about Minister Farrakhan. You understand what I'm saying? If you're a Catholic, I'm not trying to talk about you. I'm talking about what the priests have done in the name of religion. Right? So now, you got singers making songs about being trapped in the closet. Right? And see, the radio DJs put it out on the radio. This filth. And the first part came out, right? And everybody was like, oh man, And R. Kelly is very talented. You can't take that away from him. He's using his talent to lead our people to hell. But he's very talented. So now, and the white man exalts people like that. Right? Now, so you have Trapped in the Closet Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And now the preacher is having sex with a man. Which is just a sign of what's really going on. You got songs like, I want you to log on so you can .com. What the hell does that mean? I want to give you my hard drive. This is a song that's being played on the radio. Your children are singing it, but you don't know what it's talking about. You say, oh, they're talking about being internet savvy. No, they're talking about having sex. Log on so you can .com. I'm not even going to say what it is, because some of y'all may write the minister and say, this brother is talking some filth in the mosque. But that's what your children are listening to. You got that? Now, and he's using, this is the last point, our desire for sex to destroy us with AIDS. Now, I have the article, but it's not up here with me. But the AIDS rate among black people has doubled. Now, it has doubled among black people. Black women are the #1 carriers of AIDS in the United States. Because you have these brothers getting out of jail, right, who may be living an alternative lifestyle, homosexual lifestyle. They get out of jail, now they're on the down low, but while they were in jail, they got AIDS. So they come out, and you so with such low self-esteem, you're like, well, I don't care if Ray got 5 other men, as long as he come to me, once, twice a week, and be with me, I get my quality time. Not 5 other men, I meant 5 other women. I don't care if he got some other women on the side. So he gave you AIDS, gave her AIDS, you follow what I'm saying? So now, what are we going to do as a people? See, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, we can either choose to let our low desires lead us to hell, that's what's happening, or we can follow the Honorable Louis Farrakhan and come into the kingdom of God, which is where he is leading us, and that's why we need to back him 1,000%. So brothers and sisters, I would like to leave you as I came before you with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. And I pray that you got something from tonight's message.